Thursday night. And that was the reason this kid made his Major League starting debut last night. And the Dodgers weren't kidding around. Ian Thomas showed promise in a 5-inning, 1-run, 3-hit, 5-strikeout performance, while Justin Turner continued to torment his former team with 2 doubles, and he cracked his 13th home run of the year. Jimmy Rollins hit a home run on Thursday night, and he hit another one last night, becoming the first Dodger shortstop to hit home runs in consecutive games against the Mets since Maury Wills in 1962. The Dodgers are in high gear, good spirits, and they start another baby tonight. Zack Lee makes his Major League debut next. It's a beautiful night for baseball, and live from Citi Field in Flushing, New York, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Mets in Game 3 of this 4-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Oral Hershiser, Nomar Garciaparra. The Dodgers have won 3 in a row. Ian Thomas, terrific last night, and he was awarded a trip back to Oklahoma City to make roster room for Zack Lee, who tonight becomes the 14th different starting pitcher the Dodgers have used this season.
A lot of addition and subtraction to this Dodger roster, especially with the rotation, but they have waited a long time for Zack Lee because they wanted him to develop and get better at AAA. A much better year at AAA this year. Last year, a tick over 5 with his own ERA. Now just over 2. He's an addition and subtraction type pitcher. Fastball, slider, changeup, but a young man that loves to compete, and he will have a center fielder behind him, an all-star center fielder, Nomar, that has been hot with the glove. But how's the bat been coming?
Well, the bat for Jock Pederson has been struggling a little bit, and the key for him is obviously he's a rookie and he needs to start making adjustments. I really like over there in Washington when he shortened up a little bit with 2 strikes and went the other way. I know Mark McGwire and John Valentin have been talking to him about that, and what the result of that is, well, you stay on the ball longer. Yes, he pulled the ball, but he was able to stay on this curveball and come up big with 2-out RBI.
So tonight, Zack Lee, the 23-year-old right-hander who came this far from being quarterback at LSU, makes his Dodger debut in New York next. beginning to set here on the East Coast as the Dodgers and Mets get ready for the third game of this 4-game series. As the Mets take the field, the Dodgers begin the night 2.5 in front of the Giants, who beat Oakland this afternoon 2-1. Bumgarner wins it and hits a home run. The Giants have won 10 of their last 11. And so the space between first place Los Angeles and second place San Francisco, 2.5 games. Here's the Honda lineup put together by Don Mattingly. Adrian Gonzalez is in the lineup, and it was no certainty up until about an hour ago. Gonzalez has been playing literally with a pain in the neck. So it's Pederson, Kendrick, and Turner. Gonzalez, Ethier, and Grandal. Carl Crawford in left field. Jimmy Rollins, who has tormented the Mets the last 2 nights and throughout his career, batting 8th. Zack Lee making his major league debut against 26-year-old Matt Harvey, making his 19th start of the year.
And Matt Harvey against the Dodgers has started 3 times, has an 0-2 record with a 5.29 ERA. He's been having a little trouble with his command. His last 3 starts, he's walked 4 or more batters in all of 3 starts. But make no bones about it, it is a power arm coming at you, Matt Harvey. Fastball can reach up to 99 miles an hour. He's got a hard slider, good curveball, and a changeup to go with it, so you have to be ready.
In his first 5 starts this season, he won all 5 and a 2.41 ERA. But in his last 13 starts, 3 up, 7 down, and a 3.5 earned run average.
Enjoys pitching here at Citi Field. 5-2 at home, a 2.95 ERA in his 9 home starts. And I think he really gets revved up for the Dodgers. It's the pedigree of him coming to the minor leagues, coming up here, all the fanfare, and now pitching against the guys in blue.
He's an East Coast guy. He loves pitching in New York, and here's the defense playing behind him on this Saturday night. Daniel Murphy at third base. Uribe is here, is likely to start tomorrow. Tejada's at shortstop. Kelly Johnson, who came with Uribe from Atlanta's at second base. Lucas Duda out of USC at first. Michael Conforto is making his second major league start, made his debut last night. Neuenhuisen center, Curtis Granderson in right, Kevin Plawecki is the catcher, and Matt Harvey in search of his 9th win of the year. So Pederson ready to step in, and Howie Kendrick and Justin Turner. The Dodgers, 8 games into the road trip, 5 up and 3 down, have won 3 in a row. And tomorrow, Zach Greinke will have at it against Jacob deGrom, and a rarity tomorrow. The top 2 pitchers with the lowest ERAs in the league will be facing off against one another. Harvey's first pitch, swing and a miss at 95, 0-1 to Jock Pederson at 228, 7th in the league in home runs, 42 runs batted in, 59 walks and 117 strikeouts. Harvey misses at 97, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just loosening up. 95 first pitch, 97 second pitch. Looks like he wants to pitch Jock up.
Harvey 6'4", 220, misses high and outside, 2-1. Matt Harvey was the number 7 pick in the 2010 draft. Zack Lee, making the Dodger debut tonight, was the 28th pick in the first round 5 years ago. 2-2. Who was the number 1 pick in 2010? A fellow named Bryce Harper. The number 12 pick was a fellow named Yasmani Grandal. Just underway, just another gorgeous day and night here in New York. Harvey, of course, has overcome Tommy John surgery. Pederson down on strikes for the 118th time this year. He leads the National League.
Well, Harvey just came at him with power. Just challenged him with that fastball. Started off with 95, then worked the way up from 97, 98, then 98 again, up in the zone. And Jock Pederson with that big swing couldn't get on top of it.
Howie Kendrick stepping in. Kendrick at 290 with 7 home runs and 40 runs batted in. 6 pitches. 4 strikes. And 1 out. Into right field. Easy play for Granderson.
Zack Lee watches Matt Harvey out there on the mound. He's got to disregard the radar gun. This is not a competition on who throws it the hardest. He's just got to go out there, keep his nerves calm for his first big league outing, and not worry about the opposing pitcher.
Of course, the Dodgers got to Jonathan Neese last night, but Neese had a far better ending to the evening than he did in the beginning. His wife Leah gave birth to a baby boy. There's a strike, 0-1. Tatum Jeffrey Neese at 7 pounds and 10 ounces, and brand new papa Zach Greinke, whose son Bodie was born Thursday night, pitches tomorrow. No balls, 2 strikes to Turner.
And Harvey's got that tight slider work. And the first one he threw to Jock, he left up, but the next few he's thrown to Howie and Justin have been tight and late.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Turner 3 for 5 last night, couple of doubles and a home run. In his last 8 games, Justin Turner's hitting .516, 16 for 31. Month of July, .361. Now the 1-2. 98, missing by inches.
Trying to get that two-seamer started off the plate and come back and try to catch the corner, and just misses.
So Matt Harvey, his 19th start of the year. Missed all of 2014. 3-2. Grew up in Groton, Connecticut, on the shoreline of Long Island Sound. Just missing, and Turner is the first base runner of the night.
The walks issues have continued here for Matt Harvey. His first 41 career starts, issued 4 or more walks only 1 time. Last 3 starts, though, he's had 13 walks in 19 innings.
Got off throughout his career to a great start in April. 8-0 lifetime in the first month of the season. 12-17 in all other months. Gonzalez lays off. Adrian Gonzalez did not play last night. He was bothered by a stiff neck. At about 4:30 this afternoon, he was not in the lineup. Mattingly said, go take your BP, see how you feel, tell me how you feel after you're done. Well, good enough to play. To the right side. Murphy throws out Gonzalez, and that'll end the inning. No runs, no hits, and a walk. When we come back, Zack Lee makes his major league debut for the Dodgers. Tonight, 3 behind the Washington Nationals. The Mets 1 game over 500, and here's the Honda lineup that Rollins has constructed with Granderson, Tejada, and Daniel Murphy. Kelly Johnson immediately inserted into the lineup at second base in the cleanup spot coming north from Atlanta. Duda, Conforto, and Nieuwenhuis. Kevin Plawecki catching and batting 8th. Matt Harvey pitching and batting 9th. And there's some butterflies inside the belly of Zack Lee, about to throw his first big league pitch, which is high and outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Young man on the mound, 23 years old. 1 pitch under his belt in the big leagues. That's a ball away. He will throw fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, and the slider are the 2 secondary pitches he likes to use the most. Curveball is really just a pitch that he likes to steal a strike with. The Dodgers really feel like he is about ready.
3-1.
Well, I hope he feels he's about ready because here he is in the big leagues.
6'4", 210 is Zack Lee, and Granderson takes a walk.
Tim Reynolds seems like he all of a sudden got tight over there. He was giving those calls to Harvey in that first inning, and actually it looked like he was getting that corner pretty good and wasn't getting the call. Just off the plate.
Now Ruben Tejada stepping in. Zack Lee in 12 starts at Oklahoma City. Struck out 50, walked 14 in 68 2/3 innings. At a 2.36 ERA at AAA. Saw him a little bit in spring training. And it's inside. 1 ball and no strikes.
Not missing over the middle of the plate. He's right near the edge of the corner. Just got to move it over about 2 inches.
And he was inches away from declaring that he would go to LSU and be a quarterback there. He was a big-time high school quarterback in Texas. And then at the last instant, he would accept the Dodger offer. First-round pick in 2010, 28th selection overall. But he has dug himself a hole. He's thrown 7 pitches, 6 outside the strike zone.
I like that. Go over to first. Not really a running situation, but just do something different other than deliver the ball home. Kind of change your perspective on things, change your rhythm.
Daniel Murphy is on deck. Well, Lee's in a world of trouble already as Granderson will go to third. And the Mets have runners at the corners and nobody out.
He shakes to a slider because he's probably trying to get a feel for the strike zone. And because he's behind 2-0, it's just up and right down the middle of the plate, just challenging Tejada. And yeah, Charlie, he's in a jam, but right now he's got to think about, forget about the runner on third. Let's just get a double play, get an out, get things settled down.
Here's Murphy stepping in. Fared well against the Dodgers in his career. Came off the disabled list at the end of June, hitting .231 since. Up through the middle, into center field for a hit. So the Mets take an immediate 1-0 lead. A walk and a couple of singles for Murphy, his 33rd run batted in.
Knowing he's struggling throwing strikes, wants to throw something more to the middle of the zone. Really a nice little 2-seam fastball way off the plate. If he fields his position maybe a little better, we've seen Clayton Kershaw kick that kind of ball, or Zach Greinke field it. Maybe starts to get out of the inning, but that ball makes its way into center field.
That's Tejada at second, Murphy at first, and Kelly Johnson Just got into town today along with Juan Uribe from Atlanta. Johnson at 275 with 9 home runs, 34 runs batted in. As he steps into the lineup, he is immediately the Mets' leading hitter. There's a strike. 1-1. Uribe is here, but not in the lineup tonight. Lucas Duda is on deck. Tejada's at second, Murphy at first. Into center field, and that drops in for a base hit. Being held at third is Tejada. The Mets have the bases loaded and nobody out.
As a little boy, you grow up dreaming about being a big leaguer, but this was not part of the dream for Zack Lee. Now a visit from his catcher, Yasmani Grandal. He tries to again throw a slider slash cutter inside, leaves it out over the middle of the plate. Not hit real well, but because of the location, got enough barrel on it to get it out there on the outfield grass.
Bases loaded, nobody out. Now Rick Honeycutt is going to go out and remind Zack Lee it's permissible to breathe.
I was watching him. Obviously, they're getting some base hits, but I was looking at that last at bat versus Kelly Johnson. He was trying to get that outside corner or the third base side of home plate. So Jim Reynolds kind of tighten up over there, and then he gives him a strike, and I'm like, okay, that looked farther out, and he gave it. He's probably going, okay, now what's the strike zone? If that was a strike, the other ones that I thought were better pitches, and you didn't call for me.
The message from Rick Honeycutt right here is try and start to get some outs, and I'm not really care if the runners score. I want outs. We'll trade outs for runs. If we end up down 3-0 at the end of this inning, that's fine. If you can go then keep it right there for another 5 or 6.
Giants won this afternoon 2-1. Tejada, Murphy, and Johnson the base runners. Lee still first, looking for his first out. Line right into the glove of Jimmy Rollins. Well, the shift paid off. Rollins barely had to move a muscle. Duda lines to Jimmy, and that's the first out finally.
Way to utilize the defense behind you, which is great positioning right there by Jimmy Rollins. Hopefully, sometimes it's just a matter of getting that first one, getting that first out. Now you're going, okay, now I can settle in. Now hopefully I can get a feel, and now it's about getting that ground ball and hopefully a double play.
Michael Conforto, who made his Major League debut last night, drove in a run with a fielder's choice. Grounds is an off the glove of Lee. Throws to first. Too late. If Lee leaves it alone, it looked like an inning-ending double play. Instead, 2-0 New York.
Yeah, it was a pretty routine ground ball. We're going right to Jimmy Rollins. Their pitch there for the double play. You see where Jimmy is playing. And once you get to the circle on the dirt and you're on the edges as a pitcher, you've got to know that that's your middle infielder's ball. You pull back away from that one. The adrenaline, the enthusiasm, the nerves of your first outing in the big leagues got the best of Zack on that one.
I mean, you saw Jimmy Rollins' reaction, kind of patted the glove like, oh, that was coming right at me. That was the double play ball.
Instead, it's the second run of the inning. 4 hits for the Mets. And Conforto with his first RBI last night on a fielder's choice. Now has 2 RBIs with his first major league hit tonight. So the Mets, with the lowest batting average in the National League as a team, at 233, they've scored the fewest runs, have a 2-0 lead.
As nightmarish of an inning as this has been, Zack Lee, one more ground ball double play right here. Did the same thing that you just got. Take control of the game again.
There's a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Take a shot right here. Go for the strikeout. Don't go for just to throw any basic strike. Make something look like a strike, end up a ball.
This is not exactly how he had it figured. Zack Greinke and Clayton Kershaw. Can only watch. Greinke, of course, goes tomorrow against Jacob deGrom. In the hole, into left field for a base hit. A couple of more runs are in for the Mets, who take a 4-0 lead. Neuenhuis knocks in 2.
Anderson started the inning with a walk. Tejada, a nice base hit to right. Then the ball is not hit real hard the rest of the inning, and that includes this one. You set the table a little bit. You fall behind in the count. You deflect a double play ball. All of a sudden, baseball probabilities back up on you and give up some runs.
Zach's mom and dad and brother and a couple other family members are here. This is not exactly how he had choreographed the first inning of his big league career. Plawecki at 235. In fact, Greinke, in a perfect world, would have been starting tonight. He was supposed to have flown in from the West Coast last night. But his plane, and we've all had it at one time or another, had mechanical issues. Kendrick in the double play. Plawecki is done. And at long last, the first inning for Zack Lee has come and gone, but not before the Mets score 4 runs with 5 base hits. Long fan, and you just might see yourself on an upcoming telecast brought to you by T-Mobile. So the Dodgers have some work to do in Zack Lee's first big league inning. 4 runs and 5 hits, 22 pitches, 14 strikes, and a 4-run hurdle is a big one against that big fella Matt Harvey.
Yeah, the 4 spot is definitely one of the bigger crooked numbers that Matt has had to work with here with this very anemic offense that he's been pitching in front of. And I'm sure he feels like he has a boatload of runs to work with.
Well, let's see what the Dodgers could do. Try to chip away. Eighth year's had a solid month of July. Had a solid year. 281, 10 home runs, 33 runs batted in. Starting in right field tonight, Puig has the evening off. Grandal on deck and Crawford to follow, and there's a strike, 0-1. Dodgers have won 3 in a row. The Mets have lost 3 in a row. The Dodgers play outside the Western Division until August the 31st. They'll get home late tomorrow night, off day on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, the Athletics are at Dodger Stadium. Thursday, an off day. Then for the weekend, the Angels come to town. And a week from tomorrow, after that game, Dodgers come back east. To short left field, Conforto. First out of the second inning.
Two outings that have really rescued this road trip for the Dodgers is the outing from Mike Bolsinger and the outing yesterday from Ian Thomas. It's really, they both ate some innings of what they were expected, and Bolsinger was actually above expectation, and Ian Thomas was right around expectation. If Ian Thomas might have gone shorter, he might still be here.
Randall swings and misses.
And he pitched long enough. He needs 4 days rest.
Right.
If he'd only gone an inning and 2/3 or 2 1/3.
How'd that meeting go? You know, we're going to send you down.
Got some good news and some bad news.
You pitched great. And because you pitched great, we got to send you down.
Because he would not be usable for another 4 or 5 days.
And the off days that are coming up also.
And so that bought a few more days for Josh Raven in the bullpen. Meanwhile, Raven did a nice job pitching last night in the 9th inning, 7 pitches, retiring the Mets in order. So Grandal on 2-1.
Getting sent down, and I was thinking about my AA manager Ken Maka. He always used to say, like, he would just give guys days off. And it seemed like it fell on when a guy had a really good day. Like, he'd be coming in the locker and scream, "Hey, Andy, 4 for 4 yesterday. Great day tonight, El Bencho. Sit down." It's like,
it was a little easier to take with some humor.
right.
Grandal down on strikes. That's the second strikeout for Matt Harvey.
Yasmani Grandal knows that the strike zone is moving around back there for Jim Reynolds, and so now when he gets that one rung up on him, he saw the strike zone out there when Zack Lee was pitching to him. So he's got a few words for him.
Merry Christmas. Fly ball to left field. Conforto is there, and that's that. Crawford flies to left. Dodgers retired in order. We'll go to the bottom half of the second. Harvey and the Mets 4-0. but he is in a 4-0 hold to face Matt Harvey, Curtis Granderson, and Ruben Tejada in the bottom half of the second inning. You wait your entire life to make your debut in New York, and you trip over your shoelaces right out of the box.
Yeah, he just got to reboot the computer right here and just start over. And if he can throw 3-4 zeros up there, all of a sudden he might find himself back in this game.
Matt Harvey takes a strike, 0-1. Off to the right and out of play, 0-2. Harvey on the year is 5 for 37 with 1 home run, 5 runs batted in. Well, that's his first big league strikeout. And the first out of the second inning for Zack Lee.
3 quality pitches. Is it the fact that it's the second inning and the first inning is over, or is it the fact that he was facing the pitcher and he was free and easy?
I thought those pitches, even though they were to the pitcher, looked like they had a little bit better break. Looked a little sharper, that, especially that last slider there. The ones that got hit in that first inning just kind of spun and didn't really have any sharp break. That one had some bite to it at the end.
Here's Granderson. Set the table in the first inning by taking a walk. It was the 50th walk he's taken this year. He's got an on-base percentage of .345.
Well, that was a good pitch
yes,
right there.
It was. Jim Reynolds isn't giving him anything back there.
Under the knees, 2-1. Now 3-1. Granderson in 2011 with the Yankees became the first player in Major League history to have 40 home runs, 10 triples, and 25 stolen bases. So he hit for power, could run, scored 130 runs, and knocked in 115 that year. So he went from a hitter's park in the Bronx to a pitcher's park here in Queens. On 3-2.
Zack Lee, as he started his big league career, 31 pitches, an awful lot for only 4 outs. You can see with the stuff that he has so far that command is really going to be a key for him. All these foul balls, Granderson's picking them up, and
he doesn't seem to have that put-away pitch right now.
Not right now. I think the slider is that, and then the changeup, if he can get people to start chasing that.
With Tejada on deck, 3-2, and Granderson fouls this one off.
Zack Lee catching a break there on that 3-2 pitch. Granderson swinging at ball 4.
And this will be the 10th pitch of this at-bat. Drilled into the right field corner. Granderson runs very well, but Ethier quickly retrieves it. And Granderson is aboard with a double. And the 6th hit given up by Lee.
You can see Yasmani Grandal just guessing back there what Zack Lee wanted to throw. Really letting the youngster dictate what he wants to throw here in the 3-2 count. Feel what's most comfortable, and Zack Lee wanted to come with the fastball in. He shook about 5 times to get to that pitch, and Granderson just turned on it.
So 17 doubles for Granderson. He also has a triple and 14 home runs. One out, one on, and Ruben Tejada coming up. Tejada's 10-game hitting streak came to an end last night at 258 after his single to right tonight. The Dodgers have beaten the Mets 9 of their last 11 here at Citi Field over the past 3 years. But tonight early, the Mets are getting to the rookie. One and one.
They're trying to throw the two-seamer to both sides of the plate. They're actually trying to throw the cutter to both sides of the plate. They're throwing the slider, and he's thrown a few changeups. Like you said, Nomar, it doesn't seem like one of the pitches is really putting any anxiety in the Mets lineup.
Coming into the game tonight, in the last 29 games, Dodger starters have allowed 4 earned runs or less. Lee gave up 4 earned runs in the first. Zack Lee is the 14th different starter the Dodgers have used this year. Ian Thomas last night, the 13th. Thomas was a very pleasant surprise. A run, 3 hits in 5 innings. Now 3-2. As you see, the pitch count already at 40. 1 strikeout, 1 walk.
Those 41 pitches are strenuous pitches. That's first big league outing. Heart rate on the mound a lot higher than you're used to when you're in Oklahoma City. The triple-decker stadium with most of the seats filled here in New York. I know your parents and your family are in the stands.
On 3-2 with Granderson leading off second. Into center field for a base hit. Granderson is on his way home. Pederson's thrown to the plate, and he is out. What a throw by Jock Pederson, getting the speedy Curtis Granderson for the second out of the second inning.
A great throw. It was a great pick at home plate by Yasmani Grandal. Picked it like a first baseman to get into the tag. The base here, a good piece of hit and pulling his hands in, but what Jock come up making sure of catching the ball there, and Yasmani does a nice job with the sweep tag.
That was just a good pick by Yasmani Grandal. And he short hop out in front of home plate in a position so he can make that tag.
And worthy of a Carl's Cam look.
And also, within that rule where he has to give the runner now a view of home plate, a plate area to slide, so he's out in front.
So there's 2 out, and now Murphy is the batter. Maybe that play at the plate can ignite the pilot light for Zack Lee.
Early on, what I've seen, I like the fact he's not, he's trying to get those corners. And for the most part with that fastball, it's whether, there's been some inconsistency from the umpire on those corners. But I'm still looking for that one just pitch that he can feel confident to put away a guy.
He's going to put Murphy away. Turner makes the play, and that'll end the inning. So Jock Pederson guns down the speedy Curtis Granderson to the plate. Pretty near perfect throw. And the tag applied by Yasmani Grandal.
trade deadline is quickly approaching in Major League Baseball, and one guy that has certainly been in the conversation is Phillies pitcher Cole Hamels. And I'm not sure if one outing is going to increase or decrease your trade value, but he certainly had a tremendous performance today. The first no-hitter in his illustrious career. Of course, this guy has pitched on the big stage in the World Series. Take a look at the final out of this no-hitter, guys. An unbelievable catch in center field to preserve the no-no. Cole Hamels, a no-hitter, third no-hitter this season in the majors. And here's a Dodgers tie, the first time the Cubs have been no-hit since Sandy Koufax in 1965.
And for Cole Hamels, 13 strikeouts, 2 walks, 129 pitches today, 83 for strikes. Rollins leading it off in the third. Well, it's safe to say his price didn't go down any.
It sure didn't. Nice little routine out on that last out.
We were talking about if it had fallen, how would the scorekeeper have marked that one as an error?
I think he would have got an error.
Yeah.
Well, after all, it was in Chicago, so maybe not.
Yeah, with the wind, too.
Even without the wind. Do it to Rollins. What was fascinating, of course, Ruben Amaro Jr. has been holding Hamels right to the bitter end as a trade piece. And it's all but certain he'll be traded between now and the 31st. Here's the 2-2. Rollins foul.
I would think that they're going to get their best offer now sometime before Cole's next outing.
Exactly. And so what is fascinating, at least what you read in the newspapers and on the internet, because whatever's out there is true. The Dodgers appear to be interested. The Cubs are certainly interested. And the Cubs didn't have to send any scouts to watch him perform today. As Rollins grounds out, 1 out and nobody on.
So you mean they didn't have to go, so what did he do in his last outing?
Theo could watch with his own 2 eyes.
Well, if you're going to trade for him and you're going to prorate the salary, if you're picking it up at the next team, you just say, look, we want to make the trade. Here's the deal, but we'll take him in 3 days.
Was he's owed another, what, $81 million?
Yeah,
we'll shave off $100 grand.
Yeah.
Now Zack Lee batting for himself. Takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes. But Ruben Amaro's really come under a lot of pressure for not having traded Hamels. Finally did trade Rollins in the offseason. Into center field, Lagares. Or rather, Neuenheim tracks it down. Neuenheim starting in center tonight.
Zack Lee in his first at bat in the big leagues wasn't getting cheated there. He took a big cut and almost got a hit for extra bases.
Home run in some other ballparks.
6 in a row now retired by Harvey. But to finish off the thought on the Phillies, Rollins, of course, came to the Dodgers over the winter. But they were reluctant to trade Chase Utley or Ryan Howard. And by all appearances, they're going to be stuck with those big contracts, elder statesmen. And there's always that question. How long is too long to hang on to the nucleus of your team? And the Phillies, even with the win today, are 36 and 63, 17 and a half behind Washington. 0-2 to Pederson, a strikeout victim in his first at-bat. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Go back another sport, another generation for the Celtics. Hung on to Bird, Parrish, and McHale. Would not trade any of them. And by the time they were retired, there's a base hit into right center field, and Pederson's on his way to second base, and he is out from here to the Midtown Tunnel. So Pederson trying trying to stretch the single into the double. Nieuwenhuis with a great catch in the third inning and finishes off the inning with a terrific throw. 4-0 Mets. Cold hard facts of the night. Mentioned earlier that Zack Lee is the 14th different starting pitcher that the Dodgers have used this year. More than the Phillies, Astros, everybody for that matter. In 1950, Cornelius McGillicuddy's Philadelphia Athletics used 24. Connie Mack. The most that the Dodgers ever used was 19 back in 1944 during the war years. And the last playoff team that used more starting pitchers than the Dodgers have to this point, the 1989 Giants. Those are your Coors Light cold hard facts.
Those Giants went to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
It was against Oakland.
The earthquake.
Yep.
2 balls and no strikes to Kelly Johnson. He'll be living out of a hotel for a little while, just arriving today from Atlanta. 2 balls and 1 strike. So Johnson and Juan Uribe are here. 3-1. Uribe likely to start tomorrow. You should have seen around the batting cage. He came out. He was surrounded by his old Dodger mates.
And his new Met teammates got to witness how good a teammate he's going to be when you have that many people around you from your old team.
Chopped to second base. Johnson's retired. Freddie Gonzalez texted Terry Collins and said, "You received 2 professional baseball players and they will make you a better club." So TC's got a little more offense today than he did last night. And here is Lucas Duda.
That's a significant text.
Yeah.
When the pros use the word professional or a pros pro, that term, it's a big deal.
Kendrick from the outfield grass. Oh, what a play by Kendrick. And once again, Adrian Gonzalez makes that difficult scoop look so routine.
Well, we were talking about it. Zack Lee, go out there, throw some strikes, utilize the defense behind you. Why would you say that? Because it plays like this. Howie Kendrick, Adrian Gonzalez, picking up the young pitcher, Zack Lee, and that's definitely worthy of a Morongo slow-mo cam.
2 out. Gonzalez, up until an hour before the game, not sure if he was going to go. He's had a stiff neck. Conforto with an infield hit that deflected off the glove of Zack Lee in the first inning. He'd end up getting an RBI. The bases were loaded at the time. In retrospect, Lee may have been better served to stay out of the way. It appeared as if the ball was grounded toward Jimmy Rollins. It might have been an inning-ending double play. It wasn't. The Mets scored 4 in the first, and that's where we are now in the third. And Conforto, who has become an instant star here in New York. When he stepped out of the dugout last night before his very first at-bat, he got himself a standing ovation, and now he's got a single and a double.
Exactly, on a lot of these pitches where he's trying to come down and in or inside on lefties, he's leaving them out over the plate. Porto made a nice read there as Andre crashed into the side wall to get himself over to second.
Conforto's mom apparently was a synchronized swimmer, and his dad was a linebacker at Penn State. One of them wore nose plugs.
Timing and strength.
Neuenhuis. 1 ball, no strikes.
It looks like they were not on the same page as far as the pitch call and what Yasmani was expecting with the man on second there. Signs were not locked in.
Now, how does that work? Obviously, a catcher changes his signals with a base runner at second base.
Yeah, Zach probably forgot what they were going with. You know, you just say before the man gets on second, hey, you know, man on second, we're going to go second sign. Man on second, we're going third sign.
Past Kendrick, into right, into scores Conforto. Neuenhuis with the RBI, and the Mets lead 5-0. What a night for Neuenhuis. Great catch, great throw, 2 for 2 and 3 RBIs. And we're just in the third inning.
He used the curveball a little earlier in the inning just to steal a first pitch strike here. After the opposing team sees it, it's not that devastating hook. It's just to steal it on surprise. And if he's going to throw it, he's probably going to have to bounce it a little bit more.
Milwaukee bounced into a double play at his first at-bat. 5 runs and 9 base hits already for the Mets.
Well, experiences are important. Even bad experiences are important, especially for Zack Lee, if you can learn from them. So he'll go back and watch this game, watch the location of the pitches where he gave up hits, and understand that there's a little finer focus that is needed at the big league level.
No balls and 2 strikes to Plawecki. That's everyday catcher. Diarno has been sidelined for a while. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. A run in here in the third. That's 5-0. There's a call, strike 3, and that will end the inning. So after 2 out, nobody on, a double by Conforto, a single by Neuenhuis. We'll go to the 4th inning, 5-0. Dodger Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by the 2015 Jeep Cherokee with an EPA estimated 31 highway MPG. It's the perfect choice. Visit Jeep.com today. So Matt Harvey is sitting on a fat 5-0 cushion as we go to the top half of the fourth inning. It'll be Howie Kendrick, Justin Turner, and Adrian Gonzalez. Well, Harvey has brought his A game. He's given up no runs and one hit. Pederson tried to stretch a single into a double. Was thrown out to end the top half of the third inning. And for the Metropolitan Baseball Club of New York, 5 runs, 9 base hits. Kendrick flied to right in his first at-bat. Turner on deck, and Gonzalez to follow. So the Dark Knights having a good night. And on the first pitch of the fourth, Kendrick bounces to short. Again, the Mets, who are unmercifully beaten up in the press here. They're a game over 500, and of course they've had significant offensive issues. It's hard to pin the rap on Terry Collins. The pitching has been great, hasn't been able to hit much. They're still in the race. And when the Dodgers beat the Mets 7-2 last night, you pick up the paper. Oh. Daniel Murphy, Ruben Tejada, newcomer Kelly Johnson. That's Lucas Duda at first, and behind the plate, Kevin Plawecki. And they big headlines, and Uribe and Kelly Johnson arrived, and Conforto, the new left fielder, Neuenhuis and Granderson, Jake DeGrom pitching tomorrow. And it was interesting to read all of the stories. Yes, they got more offense, but it was also a sign that the Mets, who had been considered over the years tightwads, spending money, bring big name players in. There's Puppy. They made a big deal out of the fact that they were absorbing salary and gave up what was perceived to be a couple of mid-level minor league pitchers.
You mentioned it'd be tough to pick up the papers here. I'm sure Terry Collins does not read the papers. He probably relies on Jay Horwitz to brief him on all the different topics that he might have to address with the media.
Turner flies to Granderson, 2 out. Jay Horowitz has been the media relations director here for, I don't know, 30-something years. He's a walking bobblehead.
So much so that he is now a senior vice president. And you see him not only with all the Met day in and day out work, but all around Major League Baseball. If it's the playoffs, the World Series, the All-Star game. Because he is so well connected with one of the strongest media forces in the world here in New York. Valuable asset to all of baseball.
Jay came aboard, I think, in the early 80s. And he has seen them all come and go. And then come back again and go again. One ball, 2 strikes to Adrian Gonzalez. Bounced to third in his first at-bat.
Jay's kind of got that Columbo personality. He's very, very smart and on top of everything, but it just seems like he's kind of disorganized as he's going about his business, but he's not at all. He is on top of every detail.
Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out in the top of the fourth. It's been all Harvey. To the right side, into right field for a base hit. So for the Dodgers, their second base hit. Gonzalez is aboard, and Ethier is coming up.
His neck feels better now, Nomar.
It feels a lot better. I was just looking at that, just the entire at bat. I mean, Adrian Gonzalez fights off tough pitches. gets one, shortens up his swing when he's behind. That's what I just love. Breaking ball, okay. Facing a good pitcher who has just lights out stuff and put away pitches and strike out stuff. You're going, I got to shorten up, put the ball in play, and finds a hole.
Gonzalez 14 for 30 since the All-Star break. Ethier takes a strike.
I don't want to set you up, Nomar, with 2 out and we could end on 1 swing, but when you talk about shorten up, I think you need to cover how to shorten up with young hitters.
Well, shortening up is really that almost taking like a 2-strike approach, something that you can handle the bat, being able to, you can control it, or you shorten your hands, maybe they're a little bit closer to your body, or they're not far back away from your body, maybe, and it's not a major thing, it's not a huge adjustment, but it's something where you can feel as a hitter, where you can handle your bat and you feel like you can square up a ball or have an easier chance of squaring up the ball.
Where you launch the bat from, plus thinking about the arc of the swing, make it a little tighter.
All of those.
Ethier choking up some, which he has done more often this year. A couple of years ago, you may remember, he used to wrap his pinky around the knob of the bat. And then in batting practice, he fractured the pinky.
And then he would deal with that blister on that hand. Same thing what Yasiel was dealing with earlier in this year.
Into center field. Neuenhuis backs it down, and that ends the inning. No runs. The Gonzalez single after 3.5. Mets 5 and the Dodgers nothing. Sunday, August the 2nd, when the Dodgers take on the Angels and receive your very own Dodgers cap presented by Security Benefit. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Zack Lee, his coming out party has not worked out as planned to this point. Having given up 5 runs and 9 base hits, he has struck out 2, walked 1, and as you see, 61 pitches, 37 for strikes. Harvey a strikeout victim in his first at bat. 1 ball and no strikes. So it seems as if, and I'll defer to you guys on this one, a couple of things at play with Zack Lee tonight. One is a learning experience, that they're going to stay with him as long as possible. A, so he can in fact learn, and B, perhaps even more importantly, keep the bullpen as rested as possible.
Exactly. I think he's going to throw his 100 pitches no matter what the score is, and hopefully he can go deeper and deeper in this game to protect the bullpen.
Because tomorrow we have got a world-class pitchers duel. Last week we had Scherzer and Greinke, and tomorrow it'll be Greinke and DeGrom, 1 and 2 on the ERA list this year. And oh, by the way, of course, breaking in his scoreless streak.
Zach is locked in right now, and it's going to be exciting to watch him pitch tomorrow and continue on his hot streak. And DeGrom, they'll be going toe to toe. With those two going, you think you only need your starting pitchers, maybe one setup guy or a lefty specialist, and then your closer. And that's all you'll need. But still, the Dodgers want to get as much length as possible out of Zack Lee.
Turner will throw out Harvey.
Well, I also think it's for Zack Lee, even though it's obviously hasn't started the way he's dreamed about here. If the Dodgers are constantly watching him and going, okay, let's see how you react. We always say this even about hitters. It's one thing to say, okay, you struggle at the plate, but we want to see how you're going to come back from that. What are your adjustments over the course of the game or from game to game, whatever it may be? So he has an opportunity to show them that he can make adjustments even from early struggles.
Granderson has walked and doubled in the second inning. He won a 10-pitch at-bat with a double to right.
Well, Zack Lee's always been touted as a highly, a high prospect, but he's not been touted as a guy that is going to turn into a number 1 or number 2 on a staff. He's going to be that middle of the road 3-4 starter that's going to be able to eat innings and do exactly what you're saying, Nomar, where if he gives up the 4th spot in the first, gives up a blemish in the 3rd, but he's still going to go that 6-7 innings as he gains his experience, and he's going to be a big, strong guy who's really durable. And looking at his mechanics, they're very simple. And he throws right over the top. There's not a lot of deception, but he's got a chance to be able to execute consistently because there's not a lot of moving parts.
3-2 to Granderson. A walk and a double and a run scored tonight. Look at it. Ned Colletti, when he was the general manager of the Dodgers, would say in evaluating young talent on their way up, Kendrick has to trot in about 3 or 4 steps to pick it up and throw out Granderson.
Kendrick trotted in for a couple of reasons. 1, the speed of Granderson, and 2, Patrice noticed that hop coming, trying to take it before it gets to the grass or possible lip of the grass, so it doesn't give him an uncomfortable hop out there.
So Ned would say, in trying to evaluate young players, they have been successful at every level: little league, pony league, high school, college, wherever. Now they get to become professional ball players. And wherever they have been, by and large, they have been enormously successful. Well, once you get here, there's a lot more failure than there is success. And the question is, how do these young fellas psychologically handle the failure? Success, by and large, is a pretty easy thing to deal with, assuming you don't let your head get too fat. But failure, how do you come off the mat and then deal with it?
The mental calisthenics that sometimes no one has done, and now you're first exposed to that, is different. It's a learning curve, and you need your teammates, you need your coaches, and you need to be tough.
And know that there is tomorrow.
And I think that's one a lot of organizations battle with, that because we now have so much attention to the prospects, that going down, their success they're having. It was like, bring them up right away, bring them up, look what they're doing. But some organizations, I know even the Dodgers are one of them, said, well, you're right, they're showing off their ability, they're having success, but we also want to see them fail so we can see how they handle that. Because when you get to the big leagues, you're going to fail at some moment. It's a given. You're going to have some failure. It's how you bounce back and what you do and minimize that.
3rd strikeout for Zack Lee. And through 4 innings of play, 5 runs and 9 hits for the Mets. No runs and 2 hits for the Dodgers. presents Friday Night Fireworks. Come out July 31st and take your place on the field for a fireworks show featuring music from the 1980s. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So we'll go to the 5th inning, and Yasmani Grandal, Carl Crawford, and Jimmy Rollins. Grandal took a called third strike in his first at-bat. Yasmani Grandal in the same draft class as Matt Harvey and Zack Lee, 2010. And in 2010, the number 1 pick was a fellow named Bryce Harper. That turned out pretty well. Matt Harvey was the number 7 pick in 2010. Zack Lee was the number 28 pick. Into center field, Neuenhuis. So there's one out here in the 5th inning. Carl Crawford. Fly to left. It's Crawford in left tonight, Pederson in center, Ethier in right, Puig the night off. So Matt Harvey this year in his first 5 starts, 5-0 and a 2.4 ERA. In his last 13, 3-7 and an ERA of 3.5. And so tonight he has returned to early season form.
That changeup he just threw right there looked like the one that Zach Greinke's been throwing all year. Power changeup that dives.
Into right field, Granderson. Two out. And here's Jimmy Rollins. Just because he played in Philadelphia for 14 years?
Or maybe because he hits really well against them too.
Over the last 14 years.
Yeah.
Jimmy last night, a homer, a single, a couple of runs scored. On Thursday night, he hit a home run. Rollins now has 10 home runs. In fact, the Dodgers have 7 hitters with at least 10 home runs, more than any other team with double digits. Adrian Gonzalez being one of them, Jock Pederson, Andre Ethier, Grandal, Turner, Rollins, and Guerrero. Dodgers lead the National League with 122 home runs.
Unexpectedly.
Yeah. Deep to right field. Granderson is back, and it's gone. A home run. Jimmy Rollins does it again. His 3rd home run in as many games. He has tortured the Mets throughout his entire career. That's his 11th of the season. The Dodgers are on the board. It is 5-1.
Pitch was in a left-hander sweet spot, down and in breaking ball.
And that's Jimmy Rollins' strength on the left side. Able to get the barrel to that, and you're wondering why they boomed. That's why.
Well, the Met fan who caught it throws it onto the field, and it's again one of those. What do they think? Now there's a foul ball hit by a Jimmy Rollins or anybody, and they're in an Armani suit, and they'll dive for it. Guy in a tank top catches a home run and throws it back.
Only to go to the ball boy who will throw it back into the stands.
Exactly.
To a kid that's glad it came back.
Yeah.
Zack Lee with a slow ground ball to second. So Rollins with the home run, his 11th of the year. The 15th given up by Harvey. The Dodgers are on the board, but they trail 5-1. Jimmy Rollins. by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. And by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BLUECREW for free entry. No wonder they boo Jimmy Rollins all the time here. It's a home run all the time here. Home run each of the first 3 games of the series. Now, with 11 home runs on the season, Matt Harvey surrenders his 15th home run. But he's got a 4-run lead to work with. And Zack Lee beginning to settle down. Couldn't get out of his own way in the first inning when he gave up 4 runs and 5 hits and a walk. No runs, 2 hits in the second inning. 1 run, 2 hits in the third, and he would finally retire the Mets in order in the fourth. Now it's Chin-Wei Sao beginning to warm in the Dodger bullpen. 81 pitches, now 82 thrown by Lee. Murphy, Johnson, and Duda to bat for New York. Bottom of the 5th.
For Zack Lee, those 83 pitches he's thrown probably feels like about 120 with the effort that he's had to put out and the adrenaline and the nerves.
To third base, and that's Justin Turner. First out of the 5th. Kelly Johnson coming up. The Giants behind Bumgarner, who also hit a home run today, beat Oakland 2-1. Giants have won 10 of their last 11. So the Dodgers, at the moment, 2.5 in front. To right field and deep. Kelly Johnson, in his first game with the Mets, hits a home run into the upper deck. For Johnson on the year, his 10th. And the Met lead is 6-1.
You want to welcome yourself to a new ball club here amongst your teammates and to the fans. It's a breaking ball. We talked about Jimmy Rollins getting a breaking ball right where the lefties like it, down and in. Well, Kelly Johnson gets one in the same place, reads it right out of Zack Lee's hands, and he did not miss that one. That's a souvenir in the second deck over there in right field near the concourse.
That one will not be thrown back.
No, I think they're going to hold that one.
Gonzalez will take the play unassisted. 2 out.
Well, that was hit pretty far. Even if they wanted to throw it back, I don't know if they could reach the field.
Kind of like George Washington tossing the coin. So the Mets get some new blood into their offense. Uribe likely to start tomorrow. John Mayberry Jr. in his final at-bat for the Mets struck out last night, so indeed it was Mayberry R.I.P. He was designated. Jock Pederson's got a long way to go. He's not going to get it. It's one hop off the wall. Conforto will hold at second base. A star is born. 3 for 3. A single and 2 doubles. Drove in a run last night. And gets smacked on the back of the head from his first base coach, Tom Goodwin.
4 left-handed hitters this inning, and this ball low and away off the plate. Conforto does an amazing job staying down and through that ball and hitting it for power. Scouting reports are written at the minor league level of who is ready for the big leagues. That guy is definitely ready.
And Don Mattingly has seen enough. So Zack Lee, his first major league outing, did not go as planned. 2 out, a run in, bottom of the 5th, a run is in. And the Mets lead the Dodgers 6-1. Heroics of Kirk Gibson in one of the most memorable moments in Dodger history. Don't miss Timeless Dodgers 1988 World Series Game 1. That's tomorrow at 8 o'clock right here on Sportsnet LA.
That game's got an exciting ending.
Spoiler alert, huh?
Where were you when? I was jumping around home plate like a little kid.
I was on SportsCenter. You're back then.
Where were you, Nomar?
I don't remember.
Oh, come on.
I don't remember. I was so young.
You know, he was.
You grew up a Dodger fan.
So Zack Lee's night is over. 90 pitches, 56 for strikes, and here's Chinwe Sal.
You seriously don't remember when Gibby hit the home run where you were?
No, I do. I remember.
Oh,
I was actually at a high school dance.
Oh, you know.
Oh, my.
You and I have known each other a long time.
It was a freshman Sadie Hawkins dance or what?
You're not my friend anymore. That's unbelievable. You were at a high school dance.
I was making you guys feel better. I don't remember. If I said it was a high school dance, how'd you feel?
What were you doing there as an adult?
No. Why don't you go back to I don't remember?
Yeah. See, you asked. Wow. You wanted a probe.
High school. What year in high school?
That was my freshman year.
Freshman year?
Yep.
88. You graduated in
91.
On to Georgia Tech.
It's a good thing you do my cardio for me every morning. Nomar and I have an agreement. He does all the cardio and tells me how I should feel later in the day. And I thank you every day.
I'm here for you, Charlie.
I used to think that until 2 minutes ago. 2-2 to Neuenhuis. A 6-1 Met lead. 3-2. Neuenhuis into the right field corner. Conforto will come in to score, and this is just going to be one of those nights for the Dodgers, it would appear. Neuenhuis is having a heck of a night. 3 hits, 4 runs batted in. New York 7-1.
If it was football, we'd be waiting to get into the locker room to regroup at halftime. But right now, anything that's thrown on the inner half of the plate to a lefty, breaking ball or fastball, they are putting some sweet swings and barreling it up.
Neuenhuis tonight. 2 singles, a double, 3 runs batted in, a great catch and a great throw. And Plawecki is going to get a free pass. Close the book on Zack Lee. 7 runs and 11 hits. And after his first big league experience, he leaves with an earned run average of 13.5.
I think early in the game, Zach's going to look at it and see that they did not hit the ball real hard, but he did back himself into some counts where they could get some hits. And then the ground ball where he deflected it, that could have been a double play. He's going to say, okay, that's not pitching. I can fix that part. And then when he looks at the pitching part, he's going to see that he's going to have a little better command and get ahead of the hitters so that they'll be doing some more chasing instead of attacking when he has to throw strikes.
Well, here's Matt Harvey. First and second, 2 out. Down the third base line, Neuenhuis is in to score. Plawecki holds at third. Harvey's got a double, and he's got an 8-1 lead. Matt Harvey, his 6th run batted into the season.
We were talking about lefties where it's down and in and put some good swings. Right now, it's anybody. It's everybody just swinging the bat. Hitting is contagious. The Mets are seeing everything. I haven't seen many of them off balance at all in the batter's box.
The same way it is easy for a pitcher to be at his best when he's pitching with a big lead because it's free and easy. I think it's the same thing for an offense and for a guy in the batter's box. Once he has a hit and it's out of the way, once his team has a lot of runs, there's a lot of rhythm and a lot of easiness in the batter's box where you guys just feel like you can just cut it loose.
Yeah, it's definitely, we talk about momentum all the time, and people are like, there are some people out there that are really momentum in the game, and you can definitely feel it. And I think, you know, there's also that mental side when the confidence comes in, when everybody in your lineup swinging the bat well or hitting, you're like, okay, great, I should get one. I need to keep this going.
Granderson, a double, a walk, a run scored. He's grounded out. 2nd and 3rd. And it's a foul ball.
One of the #1 things that I would do to get out of a slump was I would feed my brain a lot of positive thoughts on the way I would feel during a hot streak. The way I'd feel coming out of a good outing. I would not think about dwelling on the last bad outing and, oh, I have to fix so many things. I would start feeling, what did I feel like when I was going good? What's that feel like to go into the clubhouse after going 8 innings, a shutout ball, and having a good meal, and going home and relaxing and watching TV and feel those good feelings? Because it does relax you, and I think it makes you more free and easy and more confident.
Tonight, the Mets are 8 out of 10 with runners in scoring position. On the season, they're .227. Into center field, Jock Pederson is there. And that'll end the inning. But the Mets come up with 3 more runs, 4 hits, leave 2, and will go to the 6th. Tomorrow, for the first time in 10 years, the number 1 and 2 pitchers in earned run average will face off against one another. Zack Greinke in his 1.30 ERA against Jacob deGrom in his 2.18 ERA. Off day on Monday, then the A's come in for 2. Thursday is an off day. In 2005, the Astros and Cardinals played one another. Roger Clemens would pitch for Houston that day with a 1.51 ERA. The Cardinals would counter with Chris Carpenter, 2.29. So it will be Greinke with a great head of hair and deGrom with a lot of hair. It'll be a hair-raising event tomorrow. So Greinke and the scoreless streak and the microscopic ERA. And Matt Harvey has turned in quite a performance tonight.
He's free and easy. He's been up there close to 98 miles an hour. Slider has been very sharp. Started mixing in the two-seamer this last time around in the order.
Pederson 1 for 2. 3 weeks ago, back at Dodger Stadium, the Mets scored 8 runs and shut out the Dodgers. Last time they scored as many as they have tonight.
The Mets brass will be glad to pick up the papers tomorrow. Only get one of the 2 bats in the lineup tonight, but the offense explodes.
Uribe's sitting back and watching. So what's the trouble here? Kelly Johnson, the other new Met, 2 for 3 and a home run. A couple of runs scored. Pederson with a liner to right. It's deep and it is gone. A home run. A line drive home run for Jock Pederson. His 21st of the year. It is now 8-2.
Shorter, more compact swing there, Nomar. That was not the big, huge Jock Pederson swing.
Well, we had in his very first at bat, we saw the big, huge swing where he strikes out, shortens up a little bit, gets that base hit, and this one on that breaking ball. And he still has the power. He doesn't have to generate so much of it with a bigger swing because he is so strong, and that one gets his weight back enough and stays back on that breaking ball enough. It's a nice line drive home run.
Tejada. The odds are that ball will not be thrown back onto the field. How about that? Had it all the way.
That's great. That is
so
just
fun
great.
to watch.
Yes.
That is unrestrained
That.
joy.
Yes.
That's wonderful. 1 out, and Turner coming up. Turner has walked and flied to
And
right.
I love it because fans aren't going, throw it back, throw it back. They're going, look, wait, kid caught it, nice catch, Dodger, okay, enjoy it.
And at that age, there's a really good chance that Jock Pederson was his favorite player. And if it wasn't his favorite player going in today, it had just become.
Yep. Yeah, there's not Pederson on the back of that T-shirt. He's going to go get one.
So Jock Pederson now with 21 home runs, 43 runs batted in. So Pederson with a home run, Rollins with a home run. Dodgers hit 3 homers last night, 1 on Thursday night. And now have 124 on the year. That may be, when you take a look back at where the Dodgers are, this is their 99th game. Who would have thought breaking camp at the end of March, the Dodgers would lead the National League in home runs by A, just leading the league in home runs, and B, by such a wide margin. Kemp was gone, and Ramirez was gone. They got 7 guys now in double digits. Turner is down on strikes. Adrian Gonzalez now has company as the team leader in home runs with 21. If you're joining us late, Gonzalez was at 4:30 this afternoon, and if he propositioned that he'd play at all, he's been bothered with a stiff neck the past few days. Although you wouldn't know it by his production. Did not play last night, was 3 for 4 on Thursday night, and is 14 for 30 since the break. Line to left and slicing foul.
The off night last night was scheduled, but it did also coincide with the kink in the neck. And we waited a long time to get the official lineup today, waiting on his health.
Well, Donnie had two lineups in front of him on his desk. Plan A and Plan B. Had there been a Plan B, Callaspo would have started at third base tonight, and Turner would have started at first. Callaspo's done a nice job when playing at third base. And Gonzalez will be thrown out by Kelly Johnson. So Jock Pederson's 21st home run of the year gives the Dodgers another run. And after 5.5, what a catch. What a night for him. 8-2 Mets. July 29th, then receive a Yasiel Puig bobblehead presented by Jack in the Box. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So Jock Pederson is 2 for 3 tonight. And the home run, a line drive shot into the right field stands. Chin-Wei Sao beginning his first full inning of relief here in the 6th. Strike on the outside corner, 0-1 to Ruben Tejada. Murphy on deck and Johnson to follow. Tejada 2 for 3. It's up to 260. Well, he's 3 for 4. Leadoff single to center. Mets scored 4 runs on 5 hits in the first inning, and the Dodgers have been in the rearview mirror ever since. Daniel Murphy stepping in. starting at third base tonight with Juan Uribe, his first day in a Met uniform. Watching.
Wouldn't be surprised if Terry Collins gets Juan Uribe in at bat here sometime near the end of the game. Have him welcomed to the team by the Met fans and such a positive night for their ball club.
Murphy 1 for 3, has driven in a run. That one is well hit to right center field. Pederson going back, and it is gone, a home run. A 2-run shot for Daniel Murphy. It is now 10-2 New York. Murphy's 6th home run of the year.
Porto gets called up from the minors. The Mets make a deal for Kelly Johnson and Juan Uribe, but the existing Mets are loosening up themselves.
I was like wondering, you were talking about it, Charlie, about all the papers. What do they write about this offense today?
You know what they're going to say tomorrow? Sandy Alderson, genius. Boy, Alderson has been taking a beating here. But they had to do something, change the dynamic. And there's Poppy.
There's something to a ball club, though, when the front office makes a move. The current players are like, okay, we're all on the same page. We think we have a good team. We know we need help. They're going to get us help.
And with the pitching that they have, with a little more offense, they get right back into this thing. The Nationals are shutting out the Pirates 5-0.
This offense going to have a little bigger challenge tomorrow with Zack Greinke on the mound, though. It's a little different than a first big league outing from a minor leaguer.
And a ground ball to short. Rollins will throw out Johnson.
You're going to be facing the current best pitcher on the planet.
And Jacob deGrom, with the second lowest ERA in the league, goes for New York. The comparative ERAs for these two teams: the Dodgers 3.24, ranking third in the league overall. The Mets ERA 3.29, ranks fourth. Starters: Dodgers second best, and the Mets are fifth best. The Mets statistically have a far better bullpen than the Dodgers do. 284 for New York, 3.61 is the Dodger bullpen. No balls and 2 strikes. Giants won today behind Bumgarner, who hit a home run. 2-1 over Oakland. And so unless there is an abrupt turnaround at the end of the day, the Dodgers lead will be down to 2. But by the end of the day tomorrow, the Dodgers 10-game road trip will have come to an end. Home for a week and then out again. The 0-2. Duda stays alive. Mets with 4 in the first, 1 in the third, 3 in the fifth, and a couple here in the sixth. They've got 13 hits. The Dodgers on solo home runs by Jimmy Rollins and Jock Pederson. It is 10-2. And the 1-2. That one is hit to right field. Back goes Ethier, and that one is gone. The third home run of the night for the Mets. For Duda, his 13th of the year. It is now 11-2 New York.
Well, these are one of those games where you're going, okay, you're trying to save the bullpen, you're trying to get guys, and you know the Mets are just coming out, the bat swinging. I mean, that ball was just a breaking ball right down the heart of the plate. It was supposed to be on the outer half. Duda does not miss it. And you're going, somebody's going to have to stay out there and take the beating, and because this offense is just swinging it today.
The Mets with 11 runs and 16 hits. Their season high is 17. And Michael Conforto has 3 of those 16. The Mets season high for runs is 14. They're a field goal away from that. Two and one to Michael Conforto. So he comes up yesterday. And he said, so what's the trouble around here? He comes up, knocks in a run last night. 3 for 3, couple of runs scored tonight. Kelly Johnson, on Uribe, they arrive. And the Mets say they're not done making moves.
A game like this is going to give them some encouragement to make some more. One thing they worry about in the front office is when you decide to make moves and decide to upgrade, is it going to work? Are we really on the right track? Give them a little more confidence when they get on the phone.
3 and 2.
There are mood swings in the front office as much as there is in the manager's office, as much as there is in the locker room. Been in all 3 places in my big league career, and people live and breathe and they live and die with the results of what goes on in the field.
They are all collectively listed as day-to-day, especially now over the next week.
You've got to be just as mentally disciplined in the front office as you do down on the field.
Conforto battling Chinwe Sao. Josh Raven hauled up yesterday, pitched the 9th inning. Will be the next innings eater tonight. Michael Conforto is 4 for 4. 2 singles, 2 doubles, and he has stung the ball 3 out of 4 times.
Oh, I like the swing.
Oh, I like the swing a lot, and I'm trying to pick a player in my head that he's like. He's got a little Bobby Abreu in him.
Yeah, you know, he just stays inside, doesn't pull off balls. We've seen him. He's really short to the ball. Look at this head down on that ball. Good balance on pitches from yesterday to today. I really haven't seen him like off balance, like he's almost recognizing the pitches out of the pitcher's hands. And he'll pull it. He'll go the other way. I mean, he stays that way and understands himself and understands what he's doing right, and when things go wrong, how to get out of that to get back on track. He's going to have a bright future.
Oh, yeah. This swing right here has got 4 hits tonight.
There it is. Head down on the ball, focusing where he hits that in relation to his body. It's not like it's out in front. The timing is great, where you always hear this players say, oh, I was trying to let the ball travel, I was letting it get deep, I was trusting my hands, all of that. That's a matter of hitting that ball and your timing in the center of your body. And that's where you hit that and driving it the other way.
So 17 hits for the Mets. That equals a season high. Nieuwenhuis has 3. Tejada's got 3 hits. Murphy 2. Johnson 2. Duda's got a home run and 4 at-bats. Conforto is 4 for 4. Nieuwenhuis is 3 for 3. One ball, 1 strike, and 1 out.
When you're on bench and you're the guy to pitch the next day, and the pitching staff of your team is getting hit around the night before, Zack Greinke's doing a lot of studying on what's going on, why the Mets are getting so many hits. And I think one of the things that he's going to notice is there weren't enough fastballs inside to the Met hitters to make them a little bit uncomfortable, and also to make them conscious of the inside.
See a lot of them hanging over the middle of the plate, really comfortable.
Yeah, and a lot of times when Yasmani Grandal has tried to get our 2 pitchers towards the inside, they're leaking back over the middle of the plate like that.
Oh.
You see the glove was down and in, and he wanted the ball in, and that ball just, it's in the middle of the plate. We really have not thrown them anything on the inner half to the inside corner. See where the glove is, but look where the ball ends up. It's right down the middle. Got to be a little bit more black or ball on the inner half of the plate, just as much as you are on the black or ball when you're on the outside part of the plate.
Base hit to right field. That is 18 hits now for the Mets.
Again, a ball in the middle of the plate, just kind of spinning there on a very low tee. Even if you're Yasmani, if you just sit inside for a fastball and just call it like 3-4 pitches in a row and just pound the ball inside, pound it in there. There's nothing he can do to change the score of this game now and the results, but it's definitely something that they're going to look at.
Well, Don Mattingly's going to come out. And it looks like he's going to make a double switch, which we will attend to when we come back. Looks like Grandal's night is done. 11-2 New York. We'll be back.
On the mound, Josh Raven is there as the infield kind of goes over what has happened tonight. Jimmy Rollins holding court. Yasmani Grandal, you see there, has a first baseman's glove on, so Adrian Gonzalez has been replaced. And behind the plate now,
Austin Barnes now behind the plate. Yasmani moving over to first. And then you got Josh Raven coming in. Just trying to get that third out here. The 6th inning.
Well, without waving the white flag, they're waving the white flag. Gonzalez came in with a neck that was giving him issues, so he's out. Grandal moves over to first base, and young Mr. Barnes, and it is Raven's turn to try to eat some innings.
A real good situation for Josh Raven. Get some outs. Show some people he belongs up here at the big leagues. The Mets are swinging hot bats, so it's a good time to evaluate him.
So Chin-Wei Sal, 2/3 of an inning, 4 runs and 7 hits. Sal came into the game with an earned run average of 284 in limited time. He leaves the game at the moment with an ERA of 7.71. No balls and a strike. Conforto and Nieuwenhuis each 4 for 4. Conforto's at second base and Nieuwenhuis is at first. Went around. Jim Reynolds out of Yukon. The Husky is getting a little fed up with Plawecki, who's the only Met without a base hit. 0 for 2, an intentional walk, and Raven misses high. Ball, strike 3. So Raven gets it out, and Plawecki is upset with Jim Reynolds. And Plawecki's getting awfully close. Bob Guerin's going to try to calm him down.
Well, Plawecki's a catcher, so he can talk some more when he comes back out the next inning.
But he doesn't have to look at him. No. He'll look straight ahead.
Jim Reynolds did a good job keeping Plawecki in the game. The animated arm motions he was throwing around.
So Harvey tonight has doubled and driven in a run. Well, tomorrow. Zach Greinke will bring his scoreless streak of 43 and 2/3. The longest for any major league pitcher since one Oral Hershiser in 1988. When one Nomar Garciaparra was what? Junior in high school.
And now you're adding more years on my life. No.
Sorry. Well, you hadn't graduated yet.
You were a freshman in high school.
Uh-huh.
Who's your favorite player on our team? Got him there, huh, Charlie?
Kirk Gibson when he hit the home run.
Way to go. For sure. He's my favorite player, too.
Would you expect him to say a pitcher?
Well, no, not a hitter like him. No, who wouldn't admire any pitcher other than maybe the Hall of Fame class here. Pedro Martinez going in. It's one of his buddies.
Quite a class going in tomorrow.
Yep.
I got to watch a lot. Got to be behind him watching a lot.
Yeah.
And I told you this before. There were times where, as he's on the mound, I was like a fan out there at short, almost forgetting that I had to make a play when they made contact on him.
Matt Harvey with a base hit to right. On his way home is Conforto, and he will beat the throw. It is 12-2. And Harvey's got 2 hits and 2 RBIs.
Well, Matt Harvey can throw at 98. Looks like he can hit 98 also. Drops the barrel on it. Hits a line drive. Ball was smoked so hard. Andre Ether had a shot.
19 hits for the Mets. Granderson has 1 of them. He walked to begin the game. And by the time the first inning was over, the Mets had a 4-0 lead. Since then, a run in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, and 4 here in the 6th. Nothing in 2 to Granderson. The 9th batter of the inning. Ruben Tejada is on deck. Granderson was held hitless last night. His 8-game hitting streak came to an end, but he walked. He's been on base now 10 consecutive games. Strike 3. It gets past Barnes. And in to score is Neuenhuis. And it is getting ugly. Hide the women and children ugly. 13-2 for the Mets.
This kind of thing rubs salt in the wound of this game. You strike somebody out, ball gets away, and the inning continues. That's a tough way to take a team batting around on you.
It's a tough way to try to block that ball by Austin Barnes. You see the glove? That's one where you got to flip that glove around.
I think the ball, fooled him because it was a slider or a breaking ball that actually kind of backed up and went down.
Yeah,
it didn't do
break as much as he anticipated.
Yeah, the conventional breaking.
A 5-run 6th. Crooked numbers galore for the New Yorkers tonight.
Didn't break like that one, or
exactly. So that one went right to left. The other one went down and went the other way.
Missing outside. Well, you can close the book now on Chinwe Sao. 2/3 of an inning. 6 runs, all earned, and 7 hits. 1 walk, no strikeouts. 2 home runs. And now that the book is closed, his earned run average is 10.29. And Zack Lee and his debut. 7 runs and 11 hits in 4 2/3 innings. Three and one. Tejada tonight, 3 for 4 and 2 runs scored. Three and two.
Not a lot to argue about with that strike call in a 13-2 game.
Yeah. There are times when I'd get those, and I would just ask, if you have a good relation with the umpire, I said, is that the score? And they'll, okay, fine, I understand that, I respect that. Is that rather than, especially if I'm feeling good, I don't want to be taken out of my game. I respect that. I understand the zone gets a little bit bigger.
Difference between the zip code and the time zone.
But it's also letting them know that you respect what they have to do and understand, just so you're on the same page and talking to them, and they appreciate that. You're like, okay, I get it.
Nationals 5-3 over the Pirates in Pittsburgh. Playing in the top of the 7th. That's 3 behind Washington. 3 and 2. There go the runners. Here comes a pitch into right center field, and Ethier will track it down and end the inning. 5 more runs for the Mets. They lead 13-2 after 6. Kia dealers. Visit mysocalkia.com to learn more. And by Flex Alert. This summer, the power is in your hands. Visit flexalert.org. Well, we go to the 7th inning. Look who's at third base for the Mets. Juan Uribe. And third base coach Lorenzo Bundy. It is remarkable how popular this guy is. He was taking early ground balls today, and when the Dodgers came out to take their BP, they surrounded him like a conquering hero. And they saw him last week in Atlanta. So I was kidding with him. I said, where are you going to be next week?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he's going to be jawing back and forth with the Dodger dugout tonight. Good to see. Juan Uribe as Ethier leads it off in the 7th inning. Ethier tonight is 0 for 2. The Mets' season high in runs is 14. They're at 13. They're already to season high with 19 base hits. Ethier is thrown out. First out of the 7th. Earlier in the day today, Cole Hamels' stock went up.
It sure did.
Pitched a no-hitter against the Cubs. Cubs, one of those apparently who are in the mix.
I wonder if a guy's ever thrown a no-hitter and then the next outing pitched for that team.
Not necessarily for that team, although it's conceivable. This is the final out. Chris Bryant with a quote-unquote routine fly ball to center. I got it. That is how the no-hitter came to an end. Five years ago, Edwin Jackson, who's currently out of work, had thrown a no-hitter and would be traded. So the Cubs apparently in the mix for Hamels. Conforto is going to run out of room. And again, if what you read in the paper and on the internet, as we well know, everything on there is true. The Dodgers have a considerable amount of interest in Hamels, among others.
Well, you wouldn't need a scout present at the game to rubber stamp any trade for Cole Hamels right now. You just have to rubber stamp the checks you're going to owe him.
'98. Harvey still has plenty of gas. 88 pitches, 61 for strikes. Grandal is 0 for 2. But it couldn't have come at a better time for Ruben Amaro and the Phillies, trying to maximize what they can with Hamels very much available. Grandal down on strikes. Fourth strikeout of the game for Harvey, and the second time Grandal's been struck out.
And Harvey has not really had any innings where he's had to work extra hard. When he's given up the runs, they've just been solo shots.
Rollins hit one in the 5th, his 11th of the year, and Pederson hit one in the 6th, his 21st. Crawford is 0 for 2. Into left field, Conforto, watch out! Well, everybody's okay as Tejada and Conforto collide. They're all right. Easy to smile now.
Ooh, you see Conforto as he's looked like he was yelling it really late there that he had it. And by then, it's really hard for the shortstop to move out of the way on that one. You know, if your Mets fans are going, we're up 13-2 right now, swinging the bats well. We don't need anybody hurt right now.
Nearly got kicked in the face. Now Rollins. Jimmy tonight 1 for 2 and a home run. No balls and a strike. Rollins, of course, over the years has tortured the Mets, which is worthy of our Arco top tier play. And for Jimmy, His third home run in as many games into the upper deck. Now has 11 on the season. To the right side, into right field for a base hit. It is uncanny what this guy does against the Mets.
It is against the Mets, but Jimmy Rollins' bat speed is starting to look a lot quicker, Nomar. He really has got a shorter swing. It's crisper, and it looks like he's rested.
I thought we've been seeing that over the past like 3 weeks. We slowly see it was average just kind of creeping up, but he was having better at bats. His bat was getting through the zone a lot better, and then you combat that probably maybe with the rest of the All-Star break as well.
Tim Tuffle has a big smile in front of Terry Collins, who's going to the phone. The dark night on the hill. I guess he's gone to the bat phone. No balls, one strike. To Austin Barnes. Barnes 286 in his brief tour of duty. Harvey now approaching 100 pitches. Not a lot of what you would call oral stress print pitches. He's been
These pitches right here in this inning, because of the workload and on first and second, are probably the highest stress pitches he's thrown of the evening. No risk to lose the W, but he's pitching for his earned run average right now.
which at the moment is 317. In search of his 9th win of the year, and Barnes fouls it off to the right. Barnes last night had a double in 4 at-bats. He was also hit by a pitch. That's Henry Mejia. One of those Sherrell's games. Mama said there'd be days like this. There'd be days like this, Mama said. They are easier to swallow than the walk-off variety.
Oh, way easier.
Tejada throws out Barnes, and that ends the inning. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. 7th inning stretch. And the Mets Well, tomorrow, the two lowest earned run averages will be facing off against one another. Jacob DeGrom of the Mets and Zack Lee, who last Sunday in D.C. with a heat index of 110. Greinke, no runs and 3 hits. Struck out 11, walked only 1. And of course, he's got that microscopic ERA. And the blossoming scoreless streak. Jacob DeGrom has the second lowest ERA in the National League. And the last time there was a pitching matchup this late into the season where the two lowest ERAs faced off against one another was 10 years ago. The Astros and Cardinals. Roger Clemens with an ERA of 1.51 against Chris Carpenter at a 2.29 ERA. And these guys are even stingier. Harvey's night is done.
A nice solid night for him. You see the line there, and also 23 out of 27 batters faced. Got a first pitch strike. I wouldn't be timid about throwing strikes if I had 98 in my back pocket.
Well, look who's batting. Into left center field, well hit, and Pederson tracks it down. Big Papi wearing the same number that he wore in Atlanta for the brief time he was there. He, of course, wore number 5 with the Dodgers, but number 5 is taken here in New York by David Wright. Wright, by the way, in the series of roster moves that were made today by the Mets, was transferred onto the 60-day DL. Alberto Callaspo, who is wearing Uribe's old number. And there's Kike Hernandez. So Hernandez takes over at short, Callaspo at third. Rollins is done for the night. So is Justin Turner. And frankly, the Dodgers have been done for the past 90 minutes. 13-2 Mets.
This goose is cooked. Todd Mattingly, I'm sure, is looking forward to tomorrow already. And Zack Greinke gets to play stopper again, which he has done very well since putting on a Dodger uniform.
Oh, and that little matter of the scoreless streak.
We've had an opportunity to watch a lot of historic things and possible historic things because of Clayton Kershaw and Zack Greinke. The last game that Clayton had, 6 perfect innings, 62 pitches, ended up with a 3-hit shutout. And Zack has been immaculate since he's been on the mound all year. But right now, it's reaching a crescendo.
Johnson down on strikes.
Those two guys are one of the reasons I came home. The Dodgers came knocking and said, "You want to come back and be part of the broadcast team with you guys?" And I said, I looked at the rotation and I said, that would be a lot of fun. At least 40% of the games are going to be outstanding.
You realize we're right here as you're saying that. So those are the reasons you came over here. I mean, we're right here.
You two
right,
are the
Charlie?
other reason.
I mean,
okay. Whatever Nomar said.
Something I checked.
Into right. Check, please. Lucas Duda with his second home run of the year. 14-2. So the Mets equal their season high in runs, and that was their 20th hit of the night.
Ball right down the middle of the plate. These left-handed hitters have not missed any ball that has gone from the middle half to the middle of the plate all night long.
The Mets came into the game ranking 11th in the league in home runs with 77. They have hit 4 tonight. They came into the game with the lowest team batting average, fewest runs, fewest hits. But this was certainly a different Met team. And for Lucas Duda, the USC Trojan, his 9th career multi-home run game. It looks like a Keno board in Vegas. Now Conforto, who's 4 for 4.
We had one in Washington. The Dodgers could use one right now. Just the lights go out and take you to the house.
Oof. So Michael Conforto, a star is born. Last night was 0 for 3, a fielder's choice, and drove in a run. And tonight he's 4 for 4.
And he gets his first major league hit. I'm just going, do you collect all of them already? Do you collect all 4? Say, okay, well, actually was I had 4 hits in my.
I think on the first hit ball he can put the tonight's
right, but
4
also
for 4.
The first hit ball was probably right now the weakest one he hit, because the other ones were just rockets.
Now he's been on base in all 5 plate appearances. And here comes Neuenhuis. He's 4 for 4. Neuenhuis born in Santa Monica. Went to Azusa Pacific. 3rd round pick of the Mets in 2008. One ball and 1 strike. Neuenhuis was designated for assignment by the Mets in the middle of May. Would go to Anaheim and play for the Angels briefly. And then he came back. He was put on waivers, and the Mets said, all right, we'll take you back. 4 for 4 tonight. And a run scored.
I was going to say, if he was released by the Mets, then Dodgers pick him up.
Just to keep
him
away.
Track record. We got Justin Turner that way. So
3-1, and Neuenhuis been on base 5 times tonight. Honeycutt's going to go out and say whatever he has to say. Your thoughts at long last upon reflection with Pedro going in tomorrow, and you got to play behind him, and he had in those 6-7 years in Boston very similar numbers and dominance that Sandy Koufax did in his days with the Dodgers.
For me, I didn't have the luxury of seeing Sandy Koufax pitch and stuff, but being able to see Pedro pitch, gosh, that every 5th day when he went out there, and then also just the environment over there in Boston. When he would pitch in Boston, it was like a holiday there, and it was a party out there with the fans, and and he would just put on a show, and it was just fun to watch. He had incredible pitches, but he also was a pitcher.
And he had a lot of charisma.
Oh, did he? He respected the game. He protected his teammates. And he went out there with determination and focus, and it was his day to pitch.
And a fiercely intelligent guy.
Very. Very intelligent. High baseball IQ, high pitching IQ.
0-2 to Plawecki. And he gets hit by a pitch. That's the way things are going for the Dodgers tonight. 0-2, and Raven hits him, and the bases are loaded. And Eric Campbell, with the bases loaded, is going to pinch hit for Matt Harvey. Saw a quote from Pedro today up in Cooperstown. I'm a walking party.
Well, you hear me say that the determination the day he pitched, because the other days he was, and he worked. Don't get me wrong, he got his work. He knew it, but he was having fun out in the dugout. He was supportive of his teammates out there, but he was smiling, he was joking, and then the switch that happened when he came in and walked into that locker room on the day he was pitching, it was, you know, there wasn't talking, there wasn't a smile, there was just nothing but focus on what he had to do that day.
Had a game face.
Oh, yeah.
Campbell at 176 takes high. 3 balls and no strikes. And as one pitcher looking at another pitcher, what did you see out of Pedro?
Well, exceptional stuff. I think the biggest thing for Pedro was the unbelievable ability to move the baseball. Move it left to right, move it right to left, change the speeds on it. He could just move a baseball.
After 2 out, nobody on, Duda hit a home run, Conforto walk, Duhenheis walk, Plawecki hit by a pitch, and now Campbell has walked. 15-2. Joel Peralta, who struggled last night, may soon get the call. Well, Mattingly's seen enough. I'm reminded of the late, great John McKay, the head football coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, after a team they never won and just got crushed on a given Sunday. And he was asked, what did you think of your team's execution? And he replied, I'm all for it. Here comes Joel Peralta. Pregame.com at bat. The #1 at bat for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, statcast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. If you believe what your numbers say you are tonight, the Dodger bullpen, 2 innings, 8 runs, 9 hits, 4 walks, and 3 home runs. And Peralta to Juan Lagares. So Lagares batting for Curtis Granderson. The managers are emptying their respective benches. Lagares, pretty much the everyday center fielder for Terry Collins, but Kirk Neuenhuis got the start tonight.
Rarely in today's game do you see managers empty their respective benches. In my day, it happened an awful lot. But with the value of every statistic, nowadays players don't always want to come out. They don't really want the rest. They're like, no, I want to keep playing. I want my at bats.
One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bases loaded, 2 in here in the 8th. And Kendrick will pick it up and throw out Lagares. And the inning has come to an end. A couple of more runs for the Mets, who lead it 15-2 as we go to the 8th. How did we get to this place? Zack Lee in his Dodger debut struggled. The bullpen has really had issues. Neuenhuis and Conforto each have been on base 5 times. Dodgers have had a grand total of 1 runner in scoring position, and the Mets 9 for 16. The Mets season highs in runs and hits. And Henry Mejia is on to clean up the small details after having had a look at the DraftKings game summary. Matt Harvey, 7 innings, 2 runs and 6 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Solo home runs tonight for Rollins, his 11th, and Pederson, his 21st.
Nothing against DraftKings, but I could have gone without the game recap.
Then you could have paid the bill.
No, we're going to go with DraftKings.
A man of conviction, huh?
There you go.
Well, maybe not.
They're kings.
Well, you just had to plug your ears. That's all.
Well, here's Jock Pederson. Well, the Dodgers need only 13 to tie.
Plenty of game left.
Really? When the Dodgers were struggling offensively, 6-7 weeks ago, 13 runs in a week was a tall order. But this is one of those nights where it was a first round knockdown turned out to be a first round knockout.
The big league rule about mourning a loss, there's a certain length of time through the post-game spread, the shower, you get on the team bus, everybody's kind of quiet until you get back to the hotel. Even in the lobby of the hotel, everybody's very low-key. But I think most of the time when we have losses like this, that time of mourning the loss is abbreviated.
You almost get the sense mourning took place at 9 o'clock tonight.
You will stay quiet and respectful around the guys that really got their ears pinned tonight. And maybe even somebody receives some bad news that they're going back to the minors, and you're definitely respectful around those guys. But after that, the regulars that have to get up tomorrow morning and turn it around and beat the Mets tomorrow, they will want to change their attitude and be a little looser, a little quicker.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Pederson, beginning the 8th inning. Kike Hernandez. Responsibility on the shoulder of Bodie Greinke's dad. A proud papa. Actually, the irony is that he was actually supposed to pitch tonight. He was supposed to be on a plane last night into New York, and anybody who's ever been through an airport knows of mechanical problems and delays, and his plane never did take off. So it sets up quite a pitching matchup. Greinke and Jacob deGrom. The 2 lowest ERAs in the league facing off against one another tomorrow. And we'll be on the air. First pitch a little past 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. That's a nice looking swing from Jock Pederson. He will arrive at second base with a double going the other way. Pederson tonight is 3 for 4.
What'd you think about that one, Nomar?
I really like that swing by Jock Pederson. You know, the pitch before, he actually took a kind of a big hack, but not as big as we've seen him in the past. But that one staying nice, back on the ball.
You know what I really like about it? It's coming after a home run.
You know, first couple swings, he took big ones, which is fine. But then we're always talking about, okay, where's the 2-strike approach? And that one, he's been shortening up a little bit. I mean, it's hard to see, but it's definitely there.
Howie Kendrick takes high. So Pederson, a 3-hit night tonight. Single, double, and a home run. One ball and 1 strike to Howie Kendrick. Fly to right, bounce to short twice. And congratulations to our old dear friend Dick Enberg, the voice of the San Diego Padres, and for years, of course, the voice of the Angels, the NFL. I don't know there's ever been a better tennis announcer. Dick Enberg into the Ford Frick wing of the Hall of Fame today, along with Tom Gage, outstanding baseball writer. from Detroit, so a couple of Michiganders inducted today. Kendrick down on strikes for Enberg. There's no better poet in this game and no better writer in this game. So congratulations, Dick. And to Tom.
Voices that you hear when you're surfing channels and they make you stop because it's probably a pretty important event if they are doing it.
Oh my. Alberto Callaspo. And when he was doing college basketball with Al McGuire and Billy Packer. That was the first three-man quote-unquote booth in college hoops. And McGuire was the John Madden of his day. Billy Packer was a cagey basketball observer, and Enberg was there. He was the fulcrum of that wonderful seesaw. And then tomorrow, the Big Four heading in. It must have been a joy to hit against Randy Johnson.
It was fun.
Like going to the dentist.
Sure.
It was a lot better hitting him off as a righty than a lefty.
Yeah, it was. But also, it was also fun, and I mean that both sarcastically and mean it, because you're going against one of the best, and it's a challenge for yourself, especially at that level. You're like, all right.
I asked Randy years ago, he was 6'10", 6'11". I said, were you a basketball player who became a baseball player? He said, no, I was always a 6'10" baseball player. That was how he focused himself athletically. So baseball was not the secondary sport, not from the very beginning. Basketball is what he kind of played when he wasn't focusing on what turned out to be a Hall of Fame career.
So he just played basketball because people would ask him, hey, can you be our center?
Callaspo takes strike 3. And then there was Craig Biggio, who excelled. Supposed to be strong up the middle. He was strong up the middle. Center fielder, catcher, second baseman. Bagwell and Biggio, that great 1-2 punch with the Astros. Yasiel Puig is batting as a pinch hitter. Puig given the night off tonight with all the double switching that Mattingly did and has done. This is the pitcher's spot. Puig last night hit his 6th home run of the year. Still trying to get over that Seton Hall baseball team that had Bo Vaughn, Craig Biggio, John Valentin, the assistant hitting coach with the Dodgers. 0-2 to Puig. Mejia strikes out the side after the leadoff double to Pederson. Puig missing that slider from here to Suffolk County. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th, 15-2 New York. Field, and here is the T-Mobile Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo with the hashtag SNLA Data Strong Fan for a chance to be shown in an upcoming telecast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. He is part of the crowd of 39,744 here at Citi Field, and what has become a tradition after 7.5 innings, they play Billy Joel. Of course, Billy is a New Yorker growing up on Long Island, and J.P. Howell, his 38th appearance. Billy Joel has maybe the greatest gig on earth. He is the house band at Madison Square Garden. Plays there once a month, sold out every month, and they extended, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months in advance. And he is the local musical hero. In fact, he played the last event at Shea Stadium. Ruben Tejada is robbed of a hit by Yasmani Grandal over at first base.
Charlie, I did a little research, and our pal Nomar here has a home run off of 2 out of the 3 guys going in the Hall of Fame. The home run off of Mr. Randy Johnson. He's got a home run off his buddy Pedro. And the one off of Pedro is in only 3 at-bats.
That was when he was with the Mets, and I was with the Dodgers.
And he hit Mr. Smoltz pretty good, too. He hit him at a 294 clip.
So the third member of Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz go in tomorrow. Smoltzy spent some time with Tom Glavine when we were in Atlanta the other day.
Just thinking about that home run on Pedro. I remember hitting that home run on Pedro. Like I said, it was at Dodger Stadium. And it felt weird facing Pedro because we were close. I mean, we were still close. I mean, but we were so close playing, and I was like, oh my, this is weird. I'm facing Pedro. This isn't right. I'm supposed to play behind him. And then hitting the home run off him. And
wow, Juan Uribe with a base hit. The 21st of the game for the Mets.
Sandy Alderson's got to have a grin from ear to ear. Both guys he acquires, plus the youngster from the minors that he brings up in Conforto. Conforto ends up reaching base 5 times with 4 hits. Juan Uribe hit a ball really good to center field that Jock Pederson captured in his last at bat. Now that base hit.
And here's Kelly Johnson, the other former Brave. Got a home run, a single, 2 runs scored in his first Met appearance. So what was it like hitting against Pedro, both personally and that particular at-bat?
You know, I get the home run, and I was kind of like, hey, this isn't right, you know. And then later on he struck me out, and I was like, okay, we're even. That's right. Okay, you got me, I got you. We're good now, right, Pedro? We're still friends.
Was there any chirping at all going on?
No, not at all. There was no.
Now, Pedro wasn't afraid to come up and in. Was there any fear that he's going to make sure that we know we're on opposite teams now?
Listen, we're both competitors out there, and we're both competing. I mean, that was it. That's really how you took it, and that's the way I approached it. And I know that's the way he was approaching it, going out there trying to win. Just felt a little weird.
Did you take him to dinner after the game?
No, I did not, because he doesn't like anybody hitting home runs off him, so I was scared. I had to wait to let him cool off a little bit. It was like when I went to return to Fenway last year and stepping in the box with Jason Varitek catching. And actually Smoltz was on the hill. And I was facing, and I'm stepping in the box. And I look at Varitek and I just said, you know, the last time I was in the box and you were catching was an inter-squad game in college when we were at Georgia Tech. I go, this is not right.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Kelly Johnson is down on strikes. Second out of the 8th. So you spent more time with Jason Varitek than anybody in your baseball career.
Yes. for 3 years at Georgia Tech. And over 8 years in Boston.
He was a tough umpire, wasn't he?
Yeah, one of the hardest workers I've known.
This is Lucas Duda. Duda with a couple of home runs tonight. With the shift on, this is going to be a difficult play, and it is J.P. Howell close, but no cigar. Alberto Callaspo was at the toll booth for the Queens Midtown Tunnel when the play began.
He's over there at shortstop, and really the closest one was J.P. Howell, and him recognizing that. Usually the pitchers are out of the way, balls in the air, get out of the way, let your infielders and somebody else catch you. But he knew they're not around. He goes, I'm the only one that might have a chance at this ball.
So Duda now with 14 home runs and 40 runs batted in. 4 home runs hit by the Mets tonight. Just missing with the breaking ball. That's quite a class going into the Hall of Fame tomorrow. Here's a strike. 2-2. Michael Conforto in the on-deck circle, but he won't get a chance to hit tonight. Howell strikes out Duda, and the Dodgers have 3 outs to go. Mets 15 runs and 21 hits. Dodgers 2 runs and 7. Here's Familia to clean up the small details. Talk about a low pressure task. Got a 13-run lead to protect. He's just getting some work done. You just take a look at his ERA and batting average against, which is merely microscopic. Juan Uribe. He's never had a bad day in his life. Always smiling.
A joy to watch play third base. Boy, is he good over there.
Watching him take grounders before the game is really a joy. I mean, he doesn't do it to hot dog, but it's more to work on his reflexes. He'll make plays between his legs, backhand, forehand. And with the big wide body, he's got the quickest, softest hands around. Ethier leads off the ninth. Well, I think it's a reasonable assumption that tomorrow's game will be a bit more dramatic than tonight's. Greinke and DeGrom having at it. Greinke with the lowest earned run average in the National League, and Jacob DeGrom has the second lowest ERA.
Zach will welcome the temperature here in New York compared to what he pitched in Washington.
That's what made that performance all the more remarkable last Sunday, as Ethier lines one into center field and Lagares is there. The heat index last Sunday was 110. And he went 8 innings and struck out 11. 119 pitches. Jacob DeGrom, what an appearance and statement he made in the All-Star game. 1 out in the ninth. And so when you get up for breakfast tomorrow, hey, look at Uribe! Oh, doctor, he is in New York. And for that, he gets quite an ovation. Met fans get used to watching this.
Grandal liked him as a teammate, doesn't like him too much right now. Just another something Dodger fans are used to seeing. Juan Uribe with a fine play over there at third base. Wow. And look at him. He's chirping over there in the dugout.
He's jawing with Lorenzo Bundy.
2 out. The last time the Dodgers saw Uribe, Kenley Jansen struck him out to end the game. Not 5 minutes after the end of the game, Kenley Jansen called him and they did FaceTime with one another. Kendrick and Rollins are smiling. Nothing you can do about tonight. And then, oh, by the way, an exclamation point from the former Dodger. No balls and 2 strikes. Poppy. That's what they call it. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. In the top of the ninth. And Familia about to throw his 8th pitch. 2-2. First bus leaves in about a half hour. A night the Dodgers with much